Hello, beautiful people. My name is Marika Gare, and this is the Inspiration Trilogy, a platform for women across the globe to share stories and wisdom and just have some meaningful conversations. So today we have returning guest Annette McGrath, who's an internationally renowned psychic medium. So welcome to the show, or welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
Look, it's great to have you here again. For those who may not have seen the previous podcast or know you from my social media and whatnot, so Annette is one of Australia's best psychics. She's appeared on Psychic TV, Psychic Radio. You've been on cruise ship tours. You've done tours throughout the state and regional towns. And you've also been on Australia's best psychic show on Channel 7 a few years ago, which was great to watch, by the way.
Yeah.
So you've got a wealth of experience in your field, but what we're sort of going to discuss today is the topic of past lives, because you also offer past life regression.
Yeah.
So would you like to share a little bit about what this means for you and perhaps your experience of past lives?
Sure. Well, my experience of past lives obviously comes through the readings that I've done. Obviously, there's things that happen in your life that you do that feel very familiar.
Yeah.
Which obviously, if you haven't done it before, it should not feel familiar. But that's all part of where you've been before. But I've done past lives on clients and on people obviously around that have come for readings, and some of the stuff that comes through from where they've come through and what they've done and what they've been, or is just incredible. Like, you know, they can be in this lifetime scared of things. You know, scared of things
like
have no idea.
or heights or something.
Oh no, I had a lady who had a reading, and she would always sit with her back to the wall in this lifetime. Always sit with her back to the wall, and anytime she was sitting in a space where there was emptiness behind her, she would always look around. She was always scared for some reason that she was going to be attacked from behind, and no valid reason for this, mind you. And then when we did the reading and in her past life, because she wasn't able to move forward. And sometimes if you don't connect or let go of your past life, moving forward in this lifetime can be very painful and very confusing. And her past life was that she had been attacked from behind, hadn't seen it coming, and then had died as a result. Where in this lifetime, she didn't remember it, she didn't know it, but she remembered, her soul remembered the fear from behind.
Yeah.
So yeah. So and she was
it makes sense, right? Especially when it's actually what it's culminated in your passing, and that would be a traumatic event. It's interesting that can follow through into the next life, and I find it absolutely fascinating. And you know, you hear stories about, you know, children who have remembered their past life, and they'll start talking about names and places and things, and some remember just a little bit, but there has been occasions, and I've watched documentaries, and these children explain this whole life, and it's absolutely fascinating. But it's unusual, I guess. Some do remember, very limited few remember like that, and the rest of us don't. So do you think there's a reason for that? Like, do you think perhaps they remember to help bring that information back so we are more aware of things?
No, I don't think so. I think because by right, you'll know that, you know, when children remember things from past life, they reach a certain age and then they forget about it. Right?
Yeah.
And that's because logic is put into them, and logic says you can't, you don't, it didn't happen, whatever. Do I think sometimes I think it's more of a hindrance rather than a help, because you won't remember, but you'll feel it in your soul. There'll be something about it that makes you scared, but it's not a living thing that you sit there and you're like, oh, I remember this happened, or I know why I'm feeling like this. You're left with a feeling of like fear or confusion or whatever about certain things that makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
And it's connected to a past life. But until somebody can bring it up and tell, like years ago, I had a lady who came to me for reading, and she was telling me, I just want to hear about the future. And I said, well, you need to go and see someone else. And she was adamant. 10 minutes she was arguing with me, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing your reading I can only give you what I get. So in the end, she's like, all right, give me whatever. And then as she sat down and we did the reading, for her, it was all past life. And what the thing was, she was stuck in a space on this planet right now where she couldn't move forward. She said she had the windows for her children and the house had all bars on it because she was petrified, right? That something was going to happen. And it made no sense. She says nothing has happened in her lifetime or in her children's lifetime that would make her feel like this. And I said, all right, here we go. So I started doing a past life. And this lady had been killed in a previous lifetime and she'd been attacked from behind. So she had no idea, but she carried it in her soul, not her memory, because she could never understand why she was like that. And then when I connected her with her past life and she said, yeah, that makes sense. And that makes sense. And then something else came through. And I said to her, I said, for this lady in a past lifetime, she had been murdered. And this has gone back to old England, you know, with the dresses and everything. I said, she had been murdered. And I said to her, I said, I know this is going to sound really weird and bizarre. I said, but when you were murdered, you'd been murdered and dismembered and put into a bag and thrown into the river.
Oh, God.
No, seriously. Yeah. No. But
wow.
She said to me, I'll tell you something. She said, I've never told a living soul. She said, but she's always been fascinated by murders where people have been dismembered. And she never knew why. She never knew why. And I said, that's why.
Wow.
Because you were part of that. And her fear was that someone's going to come into the house and kill her or her children. That was not founded ever. All right. And then once we did the session, well, with her, we had a few sessions. And then with her, she was finally able to let it go. And this lady was a woman that was on the verge of becoming an alcoholic because she was drinking a lot and she was doing everything. And then as a result of this reading, I saw her maybe 6 months later. I spoke to her and she was like, she stopped drinking. The bars are off the windows, everything, you know, because once her soul connected and said, you know what happened in the past life to her was not going to happen in this lifetime. She was able to just let it go and then relax and live the life she was meant to live. But past lives are around us all. We just don't remember them.
Yeah. So it's quite transformative to be able to have a reading and sort of connect to things in that way. So you can live a better life and do whatever it is that you're meant to do in this lifetime. Absolutely. Because I mean, everybody has different beliefs. I believe, you know, we do come back multiple times until our souls finish whatever journey that we're meant to have on this earth. Look, I find it's just so interesting. So when people come to you for a reading, do you sort of, I know you get sort of whatever they need at that point of time. So you will, it will be sort of the future or potentially the past, as you say.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you ever had multiple past lives come through for the one person, or is it mainly just that one main one that's kind of
it's mainly just the one. Yeah. Mainly just the one. You know, past life, it's such a weird, if you really want to get into it, it's such a weird situation because people will come through and they'll come through with a past life. But there's also been a couple of people that have come through in this lifetime and they feel so out of whack. They feel like they're living not in a nut house, but in a place that is so abnormal for them. And it's only because what happens sometimes, I believe, this is my belief, is that as we live so many different lifetimes, some people say 9, I believe we live so many more. But sometimes what happens is you bypass a lifetime. So, for example, you might be meant to be born in 1917, but you're not born until 1960. So you've missed one of your lives. So you're left confused for most of this lifetime.
Because it's so different as well.
Yeah, and feeling something's not right, something's abnormal. What is wrong? What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with the world they live in? Everything is out of whack because they've gone past one of their lives. And sometimes what happens is when they pass, they do go back to where they should have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
But obviously you don't remember it. You know, it would be nice if we could remember some of our past lives. It would be nice. But unfortunately, for most of us, it doesn't happen that way, you know, but we carry on fears or, you know, a lady that had come to see me who was pregnant, and this was her third pregnancy, and she came and saw me and she was petrified. She said, I'm too scared to go to sleep at night time. She said, because she's scared she was going to die.
Okay.
And I said to her, no, I said, your issue is a past life issue. I said, in past life, you died delivering your third baby in a time where they didn't have the medical stuff. They didn't have the, you know, opportunity to go hospital and get whatever. And as soon as I've said that, she's like, wow, she said that actually, and it actually made her feel better. So that she, when she left, you could feel, even because obviously I work with energy, you could feel the tension and everything that was actually gone from her body, because her soul actually, connected.
Yeah.
And once your soul connects with what it was wrong, then you've got nowhere to go but just the ability to breathe and relax and just be like, okay, I can do this. I've got this now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's such an incredible gift that you've got to be able to do that for people, to help them move forward in this lifetime, because, you know, you can get sort of stuck, or there may be sort of remnants of past lives that are really hindering their progress. And, you know, you come back in another life, I believe, to finish whatever progress that you didn't get to finish and to continue your soul's journey. So, look, and so do you remember a time when you first connected with your past lives? Or was it sort of a...
No, it's like, I don't think I connected with my past life as such. I think for me, it was more as I was a kid, astral traveling and me traveling to different countries, my dad's country in Greece, which I'd never seen in that. So I did a lot of astral traveling as a child. So I went to my dad's country. I walked down the village and it was cobblestones. And I'm like, because I'd only grown up with cement footpaths, right?
Yeah.
So that's as close as I've been to a past life. But I do believe past life for me, though, Scottish.
Yeah.
I have a high affinity for Scotland, for Egypt. I have it for the Gypsies. I have for the Americans, you know, like the Wild West and all that kind of stuff. I know that I've lived those lifetimes.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know exactly what, but I know I've lived them. And anybody would know what you've lived as, because if you have a strong affinity for Spain and you've never been there, there's no Spanish in your family, there's no nothing, then you know that you've got a past life connection there.
Yeah, and it's almost like you've got a calling, and I've got the same sort of calling with Scotland. I mean, I've got ancestry there, but it's and this might sound a little bit woo-woo to the listeners, but so I've had dreams that I feel have been an insight into my past lives, and I've had them, and they were back in like olden days, like you said, cobblestones, or sort of further back. You know, where you're getting a pail of water and things like that. But I've had dreams in that space, and then maybe a couple of months later, I might have another dream, and I'll go back to that time as that person. And it's really bizarre, but it's really insightful. But I think for me, with my past lives, I had a big fear in this life that I'd never get to have children. And it's like I died in my past life or previous lives before I got to that point. And it was such a fear, even from a really young age. It was just, you know, so I feel really blessed I was able to have a child in this lifetime and bring that to fruition and sort of break that cycle, I guess, to be able to experience motherhood. So do you have perhaps another example you can give from a client that was really sort of really different, or a really, really different past life that was unique and interesting?
Australia. I've had a few. It's sort of like sitting there trying to figure out which one. But I remember there was a lady who, she came and saw me, and she was a big woman. And this was at my home when I was doing readings from my home. And she came in and she couldn't fit in the chair.
Oh.
And it was one of those chairs with the hands, right? And she ended up sitting right on the end. I said, look, would you like me to get just a stool without a... No, she's fine. And I bought a past life through for her, right? And I said to her, because she was big, but she wasn't big because she was eating. She wasn't big for any other reason. She was big because she was protecting herself. And so, yeah, obviously she was eating, but her reason for eating was to protect herself. She'd never been sexually abused. She'd never been physically abused or anything like that in her lifetime, in this time. But in her past life, she'd been sexually abused, she'd been physically abused, she'd been everything done to, right? And also, this was a woman that could not walk down the street without looking behind her.
Yeah.
And once I connected with her, once she connected with what I was saying, and it made sense to her all the way, this woman would have been a size 34 easy, and she went down to a size 16.
Wow.
Yeah, because once she connected to what was the cause of her eating and her sense of, she wanted to protect herself because she didn't want to get attacked.
Yeah.
So once she realized that she was no longer in fear for that, she didn't need to eat. She didn't need to comfort herself for protection, right? And she didn't go on a diet. Nothing she did changed. What changed for her was her weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she actually put on my flyer, she's actually put a review on there stating, you know, maybe not so much that she lost all this weight, but stating the fact that this was a past life thing, you know. So it's just incredible. It's just incredible, some of the stories when you see the change.
Yeah.
And you see the change in this woman from where she was to where she got to. And then obviously she put on weight again later on because she got cancer. And I don't remember if I told you that. She was the lady that was standing out the front of my shop one time. And she was talking to me and I kept seeing her neck, and I'm like, and in the end I'm having an argument with the guys in spirit, and I'm like, and they're like, tell her. I'm like, can't tell her. And then they said, tell her. So I told her, I said, please get this checked up. I said, it just scares me. So that day she went and saw the doctor, and they booked her in straight away. Wow. And they said if she would have left it a bit longer, she wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So it was cancer, you know. But she'd come for a past life reading. So everything just sort of like flowed.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, once she connected with her past life and she realized she didn't have anything to fear in this lifetime, Jesus, the weight lost, the fear went, she could walk down the street without looking behind her, you know?
Yeah.
Just amazing stuff.
Yeah. Wow. I think it would be it'd be really awesome to do what you do as well. And just to be able to hear all these stories and these lifetimes. And it's just, well, I find it absolutely fascinating.
Yeah. And trust me, when you're doing it, it's like, because I'm giving the information and everything, but at the same time, when they're agreeing, and they're not just agreeing with me, they're like, oh, yeah, right. They're actually, you can feel it.
Yeah.
I sit there on the inside, I'm like, oh my God, look, what? You have to be professional and be like, yes, I know, and blah, blah, blah. But it's so exciting on the inside that you're actually connecting with them and getting them to start actually living a normal life, if that makes sense.
And really just really igniting their soul again, which is what they need. So wow. Look, I think I mean, you know that I think you're absolutely amazing. I've known you for a long time. I've seen so many of your readings and everything. I love talking to you. So for everyone out there who might want a reading from you, whether that be past life or future life, what's the best way to get in touch with you? Is it through Facebook or?
Probably just message me on my phone is fine. you know, because I don't answer phone calls anymore because there's too many scams coming through.
Yeah. Yep.
So they can call me on my phone or message me on my phone, leave a message, and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. And I do readings in Bunbury, and I'm also in Perth every fortnight, every second Saturday. And I also do readings by Messenger and WhatsApp as well.
Yeah, so you can do remote no matter where in the world our listeners might be. So
yeah, absolutely.
Look, and you do have some things coming up where people will be able to see you in person as well, and we will touch more on that. I'll put some information perhaps in the bio. So look, thank you once again for coming on the show. I think it's such an interesting topic, and I'm really pleased we're able to talk about this today. So thank you.
That's all right, my pleasure.
And so for all the listeners out there, we will be back up with more episodes soon, and I hope you've enjoyed today's conversation. Thank you. Bye.